Good evening, SG. How are you doing?
Good evening.
How
I'm
has
good.
Didac been for you so far?
Didac so far has been amazing. This is the first time that I'm visiting, seeing so many different stalls, technology everywhere, learning so much.
I think every year there's just really large TVs everywhere.
This is my first time, so I don't know about the previous ones, but this is to me nice.
Yeah, very nice. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do? How long have you been in education? Right? A little about your
So,
school.
so yes, we have a family-run school. My name is Yash Gursahani, Yash Hiroo Gursahani. I'm a doctorate in biotechnology, but my passion lies in education. Somewhere I have a goal to, help people realize their dreams
True potential.
to potential.
Yeah.
Thank you for completing it.
Yeah.
And we run a school back in Aurangabad. It's a family-run school. I have mentors in form of my father and mother who guide me. My father, Dr. Hiroo Gursahani, and my mom, Rupal Gursahani, who started a school in my grandmother's name. Of
Right.
course, my grandfather was the pivot behind it. And the school is in the name of BSGM, Bhagyalakshmi Sarla Gursani Memorial School, catering to the intermediate block of society.
Right.
And with one simple goal to make our students ready for the future.
Absolutely. That's a very powerful message, getting people ready for the future. Because one thing a lot of people are realizing very quickly right now is future is much closer than it seems.
Yes.
Even though COVID was very bad for many people, I think it gave an opportunity for teachers to really pick up, embrace tech, schools to embrace tech.
Correct.
Now future is even more closer. Every year we're getting even more closer. So now it becomes
Yes.
the thing about it, right? I know I've known you for a while, right? And I've heard a lot of stories about how your children, for example, are doing something very unique, very exciting. Talk to us about one or two examples of, how you're getting your children's future ready with these activities, with all of these things that you're doing at the school.
So we believe in project-based learning. We believe in experiential learning. To us, of course, a child needs to be good at reading, speaking, and writing, comprehending. These are basic skills which the student has to be good at. But what we look out is that the child needs to be able to stand in the future. And what does the future demand? A future demands that a child should know to fix up things DIY. A child should know how to take care of the plumbing if ever is required, a little bit of electric fitting, a little bit of carpentry if it needs be, a little bit of cooking because that's everyone that needs to know, a little bit like stitch your own button if it's needed, right? So we believe that a student should be ready for the future, knowing all these things, along with the new embracing thing that is going through is technology. So basically using gadgets
Right.
to reach out fruitfully to whatever is your potential and what you're looking out for. And we are trying to imbibe all this into our school experience so that the humble sector of society gets all at one place.
Absolutely. There is, for example, something that comes to my mind as I'm talking to you now. We don't even know what the future is, for example. Today, if somebody told me that there's going to be something like AI,
Correct.
which will finish your product for you, which will do coding on your behalf and things like that, I would have never believed it being a technologist myself. I think what I think becomes very challenging for schools today is to build students for a future that they don't know what the future is going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, learn and relearn. And that's
Correct.
the most important aspect. And everyone needs to be with an open mindset.
Right.
I mean, it's not only earning that makes a person. Today, happiness is not on incurring luxuries. Today, happiness is the luxury of having time for yourself in
Absolutely.
doing something that you enjoy doing.
Absolutely.
And if we can train the students to think like that,
Right.
in turn helping the in turn helping other people come up in life is something which will contribute to soul development, and that
Absolutely.
is what is preparing students to be ready for the future.
Absolutely. That's a very, very well put. For example, the activities we were talking about earlier, right? There's some things which you've told me over time. Anything you want to particularly mention? Some of the activities you're doing with your children. I remember your 10th grade students did something very exciting, a few years ago. So can you talk a little bit about
So if it's like learning about history, then why not learn history by understanding where you stay? For example, our students went across our city, finding out who are the entrepreneurs who are like, the third generation, fourth generation into the same business, who are into the business for the last 5 decades at least. Our students identified certain, business owners of this cadre, went and spoke to them, found out how the lineage has continued in the same business, and how
Right.
have they,
To how
adapted
things
and
have changed.
innovated
Right.
with time.
Right.
And this is how they learned through history. They learned finance. They learned, family business. So
Right.
entrepreneurship, in short.
Right.
All this through projects. And what beautiful history and culture that has carried over the 5 decades by these entrepreneurs, making them still exist into that sphere of whatever they are into.
Fifth generation is very hard, right? Because people
Exactly.
drop off usually after the third or the fourth generation.
Yes.
I think what is also very exciting about that is a lot of people hear about startups and they feel it's all about making millions of dollars. They don't realize the struggle that goes into really building a business. So I think for students to actually go through something like this and to realize what is the actual struggle, that there is pain, that there is hardship, and they have to overcome that, right? And how they overcome that through people. I think that's something that's really cool.
Sustaining is the most important aspect, I would say.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, how long have you been running this school? Which year did you join? And
So the school is, my father created the school back in 2003 with this very clear thought that we want to cater to the humble sector of society, because rich can afford whatever. But
Correct.
it's this humble sector where a lot of talent lies and where the masses are actually.
and also
who-
where the hunger is for
where the
people
hunger is,
to do
yes.
better than
Yes.
everybody else.
So his vision was very clear: to prepare students for this competitive world and give them the platform. So the school started in 2003,
Right.
and I stepped in 2009 after I worked as a professor and other things, and while I was doing my PhD. So that's how I got into the school.
Right.
Serendipity, maybe.
Right, right.
And now I'm pretty happy that, somewhere I'm contributing in the right direction. People ask, why not after money? I feel no. It's if you can touch a few souls and get them into the right direction, I think the nation needs this more than making more money. I somewhere feel that this snowball effect will make a difference, and down the line, you're going to get really good people getting into this aspect, because they will understand that this is where the need is.
Absolutely. Snowball effect is very, very powerful. Some of the educators spoke today spoke about the compounding effect. Some people were talking about, for instance, about how 15 years later, they see their child who was in their school doing very well,
Correct.
and to know that they played some part in it.
Yes.
Very often, I meet a lot of other entrepreneurs and startup guys. When I ask them who's their biggest inspiration, you won't believe it. 50% of the time, it's one of the teachers in school.
Absolutely.
Like, how often can you ever go into a corporate structure and rise up enough on the ladder to become an inspiration for somebody, where someone models their life after you?
Yes.
I think one of the great things about what you and many other people like this that I spoke to today, right, is the fact that you want to really give back. And when you give back, you're creating a generation of people who also want to give back.
Correct. Hoping for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just two more questions I have for you. First one would be, I'm sure you have a lot of friends, right, who are doing other businesses, in other sectors and things like that. You go hang out with them, you discuss stories, pressures, challenges, overcoming it. And I'm sure after you come back, you sit and think about a few things because of which you believe you're glad you're in education. That snowball effect is absolutely one of them. The ability to add value. What is it about education that keeps bringing you back?
I think this is the toughest one. But I would like to take this. I think the value system.
Right.
Habits is something which makes you whatever you are in life. I believe so.
Absolutely.
And discipline is something that will make you get into the right habits. And the bottom line of everything is values.
Right.
What value system do you carry, which will eventually make you stand in any kind of eventuality or whatsoever? So in my opinion, the best answer to your question is probably values. That brings me back to the school. And I feel that if, people start thinking into the value based aspect rather than only the materialistic aspect, world is going to be a beautiful place.
Absolutely.
And money will keep coming. God will arrange it to you through I don't know what source. It
Through
will
his own
come in.
magical way.
It's his magical ways, but values is what
Absolutely.
stands to eternity.
No, wonderful. I think one of the things that we're trying to do with this session here at Didac would be to inspire more people to come into education. Because after I come into education, within a year I knew I was here to stay. People don't realize that. People don't understand the power of education. So we are trying to get as many people as we can into education. There are people that I know who are extremely qualified, who've been spending about a year or 2 years finding the right job.
Correct.
Because the market is dog. There's so many people who need people, their experience, their mentorship.
True.
Right? So what message do you have for people about education, right? Why do you think young people should need to come into education, and what change can that bring to the system?
The first and foremost thing I would like to say onto this is that youngsters are the future. They are going to create the world they desire. So if the desiring or the desire is in the right direction, the world would be of the way they want it.
Absolutely.
And therefore, if you want something, the best part is to get into education, because you will get an opportunity to bring in your creativity, and creativity is something which everyone dies for. It's time
Absolutely.
and creativity.
Absolutely.
Everywhere else, people will make you do things they want. But this is one field where you can create magic.
Right. And create the future that you want. For a better future.
Future.
Wonderful, wonderful speaking with you. It's always so nice.
Great.
Thank you.